So I am celebrating this year 19 years in the insurance industry. Now I know that if you're watching this video on YouTube, you're thinking to yourself, what, did Dave get in the business when he was 10 years old? Well, that's very kind of you. The reality is I might be a little bit out of my 20s. But what have I gained in this 19 years? Tons of experience in the insurance industry. Now, what do I want to do in this video or in this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching to the show? Well, the answer is I want to share the one thing that I consider my big takeaway that has helped me stay in the industry, get through it, continue to grow, and ideally, what I'd like to see all of you do, especially right now, is stay positive. So in today's episode of Planet of the Agents, that is what I'm going to share with you. Are you ready for another exhilarating, exciting insurance conversation? I know all of you P&C agents out there are just so pumped to see this come across your screen. So just calm down, get ready, sit down, buckle up, because we are about to go on a ride through Planet of the Agents. Here we go. Welcome to Planet of the Agents, everybody. I am, of course, your host, Dave Baker. You can reach me, of course, as always, by sending me an email at dave@planetoftheagents.com. Now, before we get started, wherever you are watching the show or listening to the show, make sure you tap that little subscribe button, click the notification bell, and that way you'll be notified every time I put out a new episode of the show. Now, I did take a brief hiatus, and if you've been watching the videos, you might notice my new shape. And you know what? A little bit of a break can do wonders for you in lots of things in the insurance industry. Okay, now, why am I making this episode? Oh, hold on, I almost forgot. Don't forget to go to planetoftheagents.com where you can subscribe to my newsletter and get even more exciting and interesting tips and tricks and things like that. And lastly, for you social media fans out there, you can find Planet of the Agents on Instagram, where I'm now sharing some ideas as well. Okay, so why am I making this episode? Well, this might come as a shock to you, but there's a little bit of negativity going on in the P&C industry. Property and casualty insurance agents are feeling some stress right now. And why do I think this? Well, I recently attended another convention, and I could just hear it in the air. Everywhere people were talking about how they can't write things, there's a hard market coming, or there's a hard market here. This is a common thing for some of you, those of you who work in Florida or somewhere along the Gulf Coast or eastern regions. You've been dealing with that for a long time. People in California deal with brush areas. But now, in particular, California insurance agents are dealing with an auto insurance market that is hard to navigate because there are so many things going on. So with all of these things I hear people saying, I wanted to share the thing that I have learned over the years. And we will get to that in a moment. So what has happened over the last, for me, about 19 years being in insurance? Actually, as I make this video, it's been more than 19 years. But I got to make it before we get to 20 years because I'll need a new special episode at that time. So here's the deal. The only thing that's inevitable in life, aside from death and taxes, we always hear that, is, are you ready? I'm sure you know the answer. Go ahead, say it before I do. The only thing that is inevitable is change. Change is a constant. Change is always coming. Even I had to deal with this. And when I was able to accept it, it changed my life for the better. So what am I talking about? Okay, in insurance, you're going to have lots of changes that keep coming at you, right? First of all, you have your soft markets and you have your hard markets. And if you're not familiar with a hard market, that means that it becomes difficult to locate coverage. It means that pricing changes, that you're going to have to put in a little more work for the customers. It might mean that you cannot get admitted quotes and you have to get surplus lines quotes, which I know you all just love because you love, just go ahead, admit it. You love filling out paperwork. Endless paperwork, much of which cannot be typed on, that is not available for electronic signature. You love it, right? Okay. Now you might think I'm being sarcastic here, but let me tell you something. Rather than sitting around and complaining about it, learn to love it, okay? Much like in a relationship, When you start a business, you have that initial love phase, right? If you started in insurance, you started your own agency or brokerage or whatever you call it where you are, or you just started as an agent somewhere, you might have initially loved it. Let's compare this to an actual relationship with another person. In the beginning, you feel romantic love, right? You feel, oh, my heart is beating faster. I'm so excited to go to work tomorrow. I'm so excited to learn new things. I'm excited to make sales. It feels good to make your first sale. That's the initial phase. Okay, but eventually things can change, time goes on, and those of you who have been in a long relationship or a marriage or anything similar might notice that your loving feelings change a little, but that doesn't mean that you have to just stop loving what you do. So when I say you love filling out paperwork, I realize that you don't find pleasure in filling out paperwork. I understand this. But like in a long-term relationship, whether it's a marriage or your job, love can become a choice, okay? So you can choose to be miserable, or you can choose to love what you do every day. Every day when you get up and you get out of bed, you can choose to love what you do. Now, what are some of the reasons? Now, let's focus on work here. I know I got a little off topic, but let's focus on work. Well, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'd like to see you drop a comment below. You get paid to sell insurance, right? You might receive a commission, you might receive a salary, and part of the process is not always going to be very enjoyable, but that doesn't mean that you should complain about it or that you should not appreciate the result. Focus on the result. So, like I said, change is inevitable. We are dealing now with probably a hard market. And for those of you who are in California, the state which represents a significant portion of the insurance sold in the United States, you are dealing with something you have probably never dealt with. Agents in other states that have tough markets for auto insurance, for example, like states with PIP coverage, also called personal injury protection, states where you have a tough market in general, they have to deal with a lot of things. I mentioned Florida. Michigan is a tough auto market. There are other places that have auto insurance issues. You California agents are also dealing with fire and brush issues. This is something that you will have to deal with. But rather than complaining about it, let me share my life experience. There was a time in my life when I was always trying to change things. I always complained, not always, sometimes I complained that things were not modernized, that the industry is filled with old-fashioned technology, which much of it still is, or that we had to do things that were highly inefficient just to try to get a quote, and making a sale became incredibly difficult. Yes, this is true. And one time, someone important in my life said to me, Dave feels defeated. No one will modernize anything. And at the time, I was just running an agency, and I didn't have the means or resources to build some massive internet platform. I didn't have funding of $20 million or whatever people get in these tech companies. So it was true. I did feel a little defeated. Then when I went from a lot of admitted quotes to having to do surplus lines, it was, again, something I was not accustomed to, and it took some time to get used to. Now, is there a return for selling surplus lines versus admitted? Well, there's paperwork, there's a renewal process, yes, but the premiums can be higher. That's not always the case. In some cases, surplus lines premiums can be lower, but that might be your only option. In fact, if you're going to surplus lines, that's probably your only option. You're not doing it for fun, right? So that's the purpose of that market, right? The market of last resort, or whatever term you want to use. So here's the deal. I didn't have to, actually. Let's rephrase that. One day, I woke up and I appreciated it. I made the choice to appreciate where I'm at. So this is where I'm going to lead into my big takeaway from all of my years in the insurance industry. Rather than complaining and feeling negativity, which can affect your entire life, it can stress not just your work environment, it could stress your home life, it could stress time you spend with your dog or your cat or your bird, it could affect your family, it can affect your just general demeanor over the day. So does it have to do that? No. Now, some people have been trying to change the industry forever. I recently went to a convention in Las Vegas, and I saw some old friends. It was ironically not a Nevada agents convention, but it was taking place in Las Vegas. And I heard someone who is around 70 years old tell me that he's been trying to change the industry since the 80s or 90s. Okay. This video is being made in the year 2023. So let's just have a little bit of a reality check. That's 30 or more years he has been trying or hoping to change the industry. And I said, well, what's changed? And he said, basically nothing. We have the internet and a few other things, but a lot of the processes remain the same. And when I heard that, I was reminded of things that I had hoped to do. But one day I realized maybe a company that has $6 billion is going to do what they want to do. So I can either fight the system, I can feel defeated, or I can roll with it. By the way, if you are watching this on YouTube, you do get to see my hand gestures. You can roll with it, okay? Roll with the punches. Just deal with it and maximize both your personal potential, your earnings potential, your company's potential, and everything that you can do in your business life. So what is my big takeaway over 19 years? It's not just that change is inevitable. Obviously, we all know that. Sometimes we need to be reminded of that. And this applies in life and in the insurance industry. It's okay. But first of all, overall, let's look at a few things that we should appreciate. And this is what I've learned. Number one, we have stability. Generally speaking, people continue to buy insurance in bad economies, good economies. Things will change, okay? Sure, you might not sell insurance to the same industries or the same types of customers, but it's okay because you have unlimited potential. You can change the nature of the products you sell. You can try to do marketing to other industries if you're in commercial. And I do continue to feel that commercial insurance is the future of the independent agent. I know there are independent agencies out there that write $100 million of personal lines premium. And I'm very impressed. That's amazing that you did that. But that's not what most people are doing. Okay. Next, it is, well, I kind of already mentioned this. Number one was stability. Number two was unlimited potential. The insurance industry offers you unlimited potential. You have the ability, especially if you work on commission, to work smarter, not harder, to earn more money, and to remain stable. They work together. Your unlimited potential allows you to remain stable in all economies. When we had the big changes in our lives in 2020, I heard people tell me they were working more and getting more customers. I was surprised to hear this, but that's what happened. Those of you who adapted, it was amazing. The next thing is that you always have to adapt. Yes, you will probably have to continue to change. Now, I know people that told me they've been selling auto insurance or personal lines in general for 20 or 30 years. Listen, I have compassion. I have recently experienced changes in my own life, and I have to deal with them. And I want you, rather than learning from your own mistakes about waiting too long to deal with something or taking too long to realize what's going on, what I want you to do is learn from somebody else's mistakes. Why learn from your own mistakes when you can get the benefit of letting someone else go through it and then you learn from it? Isn't that an interesting thing to think about? So my three big takeaways in this video and what I've learned in my own life in insurance are: insurance offers us stability. Insurance offers unlimited potential. Okay, these two really go together. And when you learn to appreciate this, it will change your life. I'm gonna go with number three. I'm gonna switch it up a little. Appreciate the opportunity and the life that insurance and the industry has given to you. There's no need to waste one more second complaining. I read countless posts online. I see emails from people. I talk to agents all the time. I hear so much negativity and so much complaining. I get it, but it's not going to make our lives any better. Complaining is not going to make anything any better. But if you wake up every day and you appreciate what you have, and the life that insurance can give you, oh, well, then every day is going to be filled with sunshine. Life in insurance is actually pretty amazing. Now, this video and my channel is generally directed to property and casualty insurance agencies and agents. I know there are life and health agents that listen as well. The changes that they experience are different. I don't hear that many agents that just sell health insurance, but I do hear about those that sell life insurance, Medicare, and similar things like that. But it's the P&C industry that I see and hear constantly really dealing with a lot of stuff. So, tomorrow, okay, if you're in this situation where you're feeling a little bit of negativity, you have a carrier canceling 500 accounts, you need to rewrite them. Instead of worrying about it, when you wake up tomorrow, or if you're just watching this video right now and you haven't gone to work yet, why don't you look at the positive side? Because there actually is a positive side. First of all, if you were in a different industry, let's say you sell flooring and they no longer sell marble flooring, and now you're going to lose thousands of accounts, huge accounts, and there's no replacement for the marble flooring. Well, life is not going to be so easy. But in insurance, there's often a replacement. There's another carrier, another product. There's state funds. There's things like that. There's markets of last resort. There are surplus lines. There is something you can do. You can keep the customers. You won't keep all of them, but that's okay. And also, as the market gets hard, premiums increase, right? Now, none of us want to pay higher premiums. We don't want our customers to pay higher premiums, but it's reality. So look at the bright side. I specifically can't stop thinking about these homeowners I hear about in California that were paying $2,000 a year and now are getting quotes for $15,000 a year. You don't make the prices, right? Okay, so next time someone brings up the shift in the prices, most of you probably aren't setting the prices unless you have your own special program. So you're not making the premiums. So work on a way to explain that to the customer. Instead of dealing with each person one by one and not knowing what to say, work on this in advance. Prepare a little script. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't provide personalized service. It just means you want to have the answers ready for you and your team or staff if you have one. That way everyone's on the same page. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to like this video. You're going to like this podcast. You're going to click the subscribe button, notification bell. Okay, you've done all that. But what you're going to do is you're going to wake up tomorrow or the next day you go to work, and you are going to be so happy that you work in this business. You wake up and you choose to be excited and happy about what you're going to do, about the life you have, the life insurance has given to many of us. You're not going to complain about anything, okay? You're going to make it happen. And you're going to realize also that even while other people are losing their jobs, there's bad economy stuff going on. I think eggs are like $5 or $7 a dozen at some places. Gas is more expensive, yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Don't let any of that affect you at all. And you appreciate this incredible opportunity that the industry has given to so many of us. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, that's actually how I felt for the first many years of my insurance career. And then it became more difficult. There was competition from the internet and other things. But like so many things, a lot of that faded away and it didn't really affect me. It was just a micro effect. So when I woke up and I chose love for the insurance industry, well, every day of mine became much better. And I do not want you to spend or waste one single day not loving your life. All right. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Planet of the Agents. Perhaps you could hear in my voice, this is a more personal episode than usual. And that's because, you see the big smile on my face right now? Because I wanted to share with you how I got to this level. Now, what am I about to do? I'm going to go fill out some paperwork. I'm doing some kind of filing stuff. I'm organizing things. I'm getting quotes, working on renewals. I'm doing the same thing. But today, like every day, is just another incredible day. And I hope that you all have the same incredible day that I have. Take care, everyone. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. And if you have not chimed in and clicked over to YouTube to watch the videos, I'd love it if you'd watch me over here too. Take care, everyone.